2 steps back. March.
Please prepare for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Yeah.
Colors, post, as you will. Color guard, present. Arms. Colors, post. Color guard, right shoulder, arms.
2.
Colors, right, face, forward, march.
Let's have a round of applause, please. Middletown PBA Pipe and Drum Corps, thank you very, very much. Please be seated. First of all, I want to thank everyone for being with us here today for this very, very special day. It gives me great honor now to introduce Greg Shook, our chairman of the Chamber.
Good morning. I'm proud to be involved with all of you, proud of your service, and part of that service is our state and local officials that are here. There's a blue sheet. I'm not going to read their names, but I want to thank them for their service for our state and for their towns. The other thing I get the honor to, I represent the members of this group. I'd like to welcome the new members that are in your white pamphlets and on your table. Canolius on the Run LLC in Centerbrook. If you're here, please stand up. Pioneer Business Consulting in Southwick, Massachusetts. Denver Tire Shop LLC in Old Saybrook. Sharon Elizabeth's Floral Design in Berlin. Fred Galvin Painting, East Hampton. And Strategic Energy Partners, Middletown. Innovative Transformations, East Hampton. The Stables of Westfield LLC, Middletown. La Rosa Building Group, and Meriden. Thank you all for joining. Please say hello to them. They're the backbone. And one of the things I've always said all this year is that businesses provide jobs, and jobs lift people up. And I want to thank all of our membership for everything that you do as well in your service. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just hold your applause until I introduce the members of the head table that will not be speaking today. Mayor Dan Drew from the city of Middletown. Kevin Lembo, our really great state controller who travels all over Middlesex County. There's not a better lieutenant governor in our country than Nancy Wyman, who's another one that really has been an unbelievable supporter of our chamber and the citizens of the state of Connecticut. Rick Morin, next year's chairman of the chamber. Michael Roth, president of Wesleyan University. Mark Arjakian, president of Connecticut State Colleges and Universities. And Ann Evans from the Department of Commerce. Let's have a round of applause for them. And it's an honor again to have Kevin Brown, chairman of the Mohegan Tribal Council, with us here today, and Chuck Bonnell is also with us. Kevin, as you know, I said last year, has an unbelievable military background, has received numerous combat and other recognition for his service, his 25-year career in the United States Army. But he didn't want me to talk too much about him today. What I want to mention is, again, the Mohegan Tribe. As you know, they're sponsoring our next breakfast with Senator Murphy on the 21st of this month. But they have an unbelievable event coming up for vets. It's called Vets Rock. It goes from Wednesday to Saturday. They're bringing 50 soldiers in from Fort Bragg, and they will be treating them like rock stars from Wednesday till Saturday. They have concerts, they have everything for them. This is an unbelievable gesture, and I know all of you in the military really appreciate that. Another thing that we all want to get down and see, they have a wall that heals that will be going up. It's a replica of the Vietnam Memorial, and it will be opening up at 10 o'clock on Thursday. Let's have a round of applause for the Mohegan Tribe and Kevin. Thank you very much. Another group that really has stepped up over the past years is our Travelers Tournament with Nathan Grube for the support of veterans. Nathan, come on up.
Thank you, Larry. I just wanted to just jump in and say a couple quick things real quick, because Captain Whitescarver, thank you for being here. I had the privilege of meeting him this year at the Travelers Championship. I think the last time I saw you was at a baby shower where we had 38 moms up from New London and gave him a surprise baby shower. It was a lot of fun as part of our military appreciation platform. But what I wanted to mention was that I got a letter from Captain Whitescarver about a week after the tournament, and I get thank you notes about our military appreciation in the past, but his was so detailed. He literally went through every single event. Thank you for at opening ceremonies, how you pack backpacks for our kids. Thank you for the baby shower that you threw. Thank you for the free admission for veterans. And he walked through each thing, and he mentioned each corporate partner with each initiative that we did. And I want to say two things on that. One, kudos for being so detail-oriented, and I guess, you know, overseeing a nuclear subfleet, you need to be pretty detail-oriented, so I'm very glad to see that. But then also, he acknowledged not just these events that were happening, but the corporate community that is behind you as our veterans, behind you as our active, retired. He acknowledged that, so on both fronts. So thank you for recognizing that, and this morning, be remembered and be honored, and thank you very much for your service.
Okay, as you know, we give out T-shirts because we don't have reserved tables here. So this morning, this is a special event. They were here from 5 o'clock. I got here about 10 of 5, and Phil Cacciola was here at 5, Harry Burr, 5:30, Tom Danaher, 5:35, Bill Hunt was here at 5:40, and Jim Dollian at 5:45. Let's have a round of applause for them. What a Husky T-shirt will do. Also, I just want to, before getting Phil up here, I want to just publicly thank Phil Cacciola for the outstanding job that he does. And can the committee please stand up, the Support the Troops Committee that work almost all year. Please, all of you stand up. Let's be recognized. Come on. And thanks to our staff, but especially to Jeff Pugliese, who has really spent a tremendous amount of time and energy with Phil on this great event. It gives me a great honor now to introduce Phil Cacciola, Chairman of the Support the Troops Honor the Veterans function.
You all would appreciate the fact that me getting up early and being here at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, guess where I learned to do that? Good military training. If we all remember, by 9 o'clock in the morning, most of us probably put a full day's work in before we realized it. So it's always a pleasure to be here for this event. I think this is one of the premier events, certainly for the Chamber and for veterans. Good morning and welcome, members of the head table and distinguished guests, to our 15th annual Support the Troops breakfast. Once again, Larry McHugh and your staff, thank you very much for supporting all military personnel worldwide and locally. And thanks, as Larry just did, to the committee that put this event together. Jeff Pugliese, the Chamber Vice President, I certainly couldn't have done this without him. This chamber is one of the few chambers, I think, maybe in the country, that does an event such as this for veterans. Now, Larry did say there are a few others now that are kind of thinking about doing it because it's such a success. It's a great time to be a veteran. Every veteran has a story, and I think we have to get our word out. So I think it's terrific that the Chamber does this for us. Every year I try to recognize the Gold Star families and Blue Star families who are in attendance. I'm not sure we have any Gold Star families here this morning. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I know we have some Blue Star families here. And if they would please at least raise their hand or rise so we could acknowledge a Blue Star family, someone who served in the military. Over in the back. Again, thank you very much for the commitment of your family and the veterans that you serve. One of the Blue Star mothers is at the head table with us today, and I'd like Sue Martucci, a Blue Star mother, to rise. Sue is also the driving force behind the Connecticut Trees of Honor here in Middletown, and they have done a magnificent job with that program. Thank you, Sue. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge the military representatives at the head table. Please stand as I call your names. Hold your applause until all have been introduced. Commissioner Sean Connolly, State of Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs. Colonel Francis J. Evon, Jr., Connecticut Assistant Adjutant General. Captain Ron Lebrecht, Assistant Superintendent, United States Coast Guard Academy. Master Chief Joseph Smith, Command Master Chief, U.S. Coast Guard Academy. Command Sergeant Major John S. Carragher, State Command Sergeant Major. Colonel William Shea, retired State of Connecticut Aviation Officer and now DEP Commissioner of the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Colonel Charles Campbell, United States Army. Charlie's a local individual, went to Vinyl Tech, and makes this event every year. So we're proud to have Charlie back. Colonel retired Carl Venditto, Connecticut Army Reserve Ambassador. Command Sergeant Major retired Robert Mulder, Association of the United States Army. Ted Graziani, State Chair, Employee Support of the Guard and Reserve. And the American Legion State Commander Louis Robinson. Thank you for being part of this program. Please give them a round of applause for being here. One of the privileges of being up here is I get an opportunity to recognize local veterans groups in attendance. When I call your name, I'm going to recognize the groups, but before I do that, every year I'd like to recognize World War II vets and Korean War vets, because as we know, time is flying by for these men and women. And I know we have at least 2, maybe 3 World War II vets here. And I would like them to rise. I know they're able to. And it was Al Hamra and Ray Click and Frank Godwin, Jr. Thank you both for being here. If you've got time, and I mean time, talk to these 2 fellows after the breakfast, because they'll talk the rest of the day about some of their escapades in the military. You might want to take them by a bar or something, because I'm not sure you want to hear everything. Ray Click, I guess he brushed elbows with FDR in the Pacific, and Atlantic, I'm sorry. And we'll take your word for that, Ray. So that's great. I'm going to list the veterans in attendance here. Please just hold your applause until I mention them. We have with us the Association of the United States Army. We have the American Legion, Post 75, Post 206, Post 105, and the Department of Connecticut. VFW, Post 583. Catholic War Veterans, St. Mary's Post 1166. The Jewish War Veterans, Post 51. The Marine Corps League, Department of Connecticut. They are celebrating their 238th anniversary this week. Altrusa, VFW, Post 1840. Veterans of the Vietnam War, Vietnam Vets of America, Connecticut State Council. Employee Support of the Guard and Reserve, which is the ESGR. The Greater Middletown Military Museum. The Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 7, Middlesex Community College, the OASIS program, and Wesleyan University Posse. I have to mention special thanks to President Michael Roth of Wesleyan for his support of veterans. This Saturday, November 12th at 11:15 at Wesleyan's Andrus Field, any vet is asked to join all the other veterans who are going to be honored by Wesleyan University this Saturday for the Wesleyan Trinity game. Any vet lines up at the north end of the field. They're going to march us to the 50-yard line, reserve seats for us, and we're going to probably get to see the best Division III small college football game this year. Wesleyan's playing Trinity. So I want to thank Michael Roth for what he does for Wesleyan and the vets. I'm sorry, Michael's down this end. So if we can get everybody there, that would be nice. Not all veterans belong to military organizations or veterans organizations. So at this time in the program, we have some servicemen and women here in uniform, so I'm going to ask them to rise with all the veterans in this hall this morning. So would all veterans and the people who are on active duty please rise and be recognized? All veterans. Thank you very much for your service. At the right of the head table, there is a missing man table. Please read it or look at it or check it out before you leave. The table has been set as a place of honor for our missing service members, regardless of branch of service. Please take time to read the declaration. Never forget our POWs and MIAs. There are presently over 80,000 POWs and MIAs still missing from various wars. Before I introduce Mike Rogalski, I'd like to acknowledge previous recipients of the William Pomfret Award. And I do have to talk about Ronnie Pomfret. She's here. This award was named after Bill Pomfret. I think we all know who Bill was. The information should be on your desk. But Ronnie Pomfret is here, Bill's wife, and please, Ronnie, just wave up and back. Thank you, Ronnie. Just one other event I'd just like to mention. For all veterans, whether or not you were Special Forces, Ranger, Airborne, SEAL, Mark Community Resources in April is going to have a repelling. Veterans know what a repelling exercise is. So if you're interested in repelling, see the Mark representatives out in the lobby after the meeting. It sounds very interesting. Okay, at this time, Mike Rogalski, last year's recipient of the William Pomfret Service Award, will make this year's presentation. Michael Rogalski.
Good morning, everyone. I was humbled and honored to be presented with the 2015 William J. Pomfret Community Service Award, and I'm honored to be back at this podium today to present this year's award to my friend, fellow veteran, and who I also term as my adopted twin brother, Larry Riley. I encourage each and every one of you to read Larry's full bio that is it's on your tables. After reading it, you will truly get a sense of why the past recipients chose him to receive this year's award. The William J. Pomfret Veterans Community Service Award is presented annually to a veteran of the United States Armed Forces in recognition of his or her distinguished service to citizens of Connecticut and selfless commitment to public service. I am very proud that Larry Riley is this year's recipient. Larry is a veteran of the U.S. Air Force. I'm sorry, but other veterans will understand that one. But Larry, he's a veteran of the United States Air Force. I gotta say, yeah, there's our other guys. All right. And a combat Vietnam veteran. He went on to have a distinguished career in the U.S. Secret Service, where, among other things, he worked for 4 American presidents. Larry also has a long record of supporting a number of veterans and other community service initiatives. He served as commander of the Veterans of the Vietnam War Middletown for 5 years. He's had several 2-year terms as commander of Middlesex the Council of Veterans. Currently, he is the commander of American Legion Post 75 in Middletown. He is an officer in the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the Veterans of the Vietnam War. He is also very active with a number of other veteran support initiatives and is a member of the local community emergency response team. Chamber members recognize Larry as the leader of the Pledge of Allegiance at each of their monthly breakfast meetings, and as you saw, he led it today. Again, please take a look at Larry's full bio. It's impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present the 2016 William J. Pomfret Veterans Community Service Award to my adopted twin brother, Larry Riley.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. Much appreciated. One of the best awards anybody can get is an award from your mentors and peers. And that's what happened in my situation. The people from the William J. Pomfret Veteran Community Service Award Committee are people that you want to look up to. They're very active in the community, and that helped me along the way. Also, my grandmother, God bless her soul, told me, hang out with good people, good things will happen. And I have to go along with that. This has been a wonderful thing here. It's not often that you can get an award for doing something that you really enjoy. And I enjoy working with veterans. I enjoy working with people. And of course, most people have seen me walking dogs, and they know that I do that also. You put an animal in the mix, and I'm done. Again, I want to thank the Larry and his staff. The Chamber of Commerce has been very supportive of the veterans, and we hope that will continue in the future. I wanted to thank my family, and I'm going to have my family stand up. Would my family stand up? My sisters and my wife. And of course, my wonderful wife, Liz, who gets me through this. So to my many friends out there and to the Chamber and to everything else, thank you so much. This is a great honor. This is a great town. I'm very fortunate on having a bunch of great friends that I know of and that I can lean on if I have any problems. Thank you all so much for being my support system. And thank you, Larry.
Before he sits down, this is an American hero. His service in Vietnam during wartime, the honors that he received for that service during wartime, stepping forward and guarding 4 of our United States presidents in the Secret Service. What a career. And aren't we fortunate in Middlesex County and Middletown to have Larry Riley, our citizen. There's so many of our businesses in Middlesex County that have stepped up to the plate over the past years that I've been involved in it, that we thought that it would be really nice at this function to honor a business for their unbelievable support of veterans, not just on Veterans Day, but through the 365 days a year. The award is going to be called the Veteran Support of the Business of the Year Award. It will be named after AT&T because they are the sponsor of this award, and I want to thank you, John, for that. And we felt that the first award really should go to AT&T. In your packet, you can see everything that they do and have done. They are an unbelievable corporate citizen. They have supported the armed forces in so many different ways, for veterans into the workforce, to helping their existing employees that are involved with armed forces, to support numerous veteran causes. AT&T is indeed a leading example of a strong corporate citizen stepping up to the plate to support veterans and their families. It gives me a great honor to have John Amra, President of AT&T Connecticut, accept this award. John.
Thank you. Good morning, Larry. Thank you very much for this award. I'm just going to be very, very brief and mention, as Larry said, this week is Veterans Day, and why it's very important that we commemorate all that our veterans have done for us. It's also important that every day we realize that they struggle. Too many veterans who make a transition from military life to civilian life struggle, and one of the biggest struggles they frankly have is finding a job. So AT&T has really been very proud of the efforts it has undertaken to try to employ and hire veterans. We recently made a commitment to hire some 20,000 veterans by the year 2020, and we're well on our way to doing that. Now let me say, that's the right thing to do, and as a good corporate citizen we realize that, but let me say this as an employer. Some of our best employees are veterans, so it's not just the right thing to do, because as a good corporate citizen, it's the right thing to do for your business too. And finally, let me say this, what I'm most excited about in terms of this award is that it is an ongoing award. We were happy to sponsor it, because it's not just about recognizing AT&T. There are so many businesses out there in the community who do the same thing we do and do the right thing. We look forward to recognizing them on an annual basis. Larry, thank you very much, and thank you to all the veterans.
Doing good on the time, Phil. Right on the button, man. I'll tell you, very good. Before introducing Vin Capice from Middlesex Hospital, I'd just like to recognize Laura Martino, who's with us today and does so much in the community for us. Catherine Reese also, I don't think she's here today, but okay, Catherine, very good. I want to congratulate her on receiving the NAACP award this year. I was at the function, and for the outreach that she's made in the community, which is phenomenal. Example of an unbelievable corporate citizen. I think you all know Vin. Vin was our last year's chairman. He did a fantastic job as our chairman of the chamber for a year. He is a terrific friend. Middlesex Hospital is the best. I go back a long time with them, my coaching career back into the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, where we had numerous athletes serviced by them, and to my own situation a few years ago. We are fortunate to have Middlesex Hospital, a leading hospital not only in Connecticut, but indeed the state of the New England region. But more importantly, it's a corporate citizen that gives 365 days a year, a quality, committed hospital with unbelievable staff, led by a fantastic leader, Vin Capice.
Thank you, Larry, for those kind words. It's truly a pleasure for Middlesex Hospital to once again sponsor this breakfast today in honor of the courageous and dedicated men and women who have served our country. The freedoms that we take for granted each and every day are the direct result of the efforts and sacrifices made by our veterans, and for that we honor them today. As a healthcare organization, Middlesex Hospital is honoring our veterans in a small way through our annual Veterans Lung Screening event, which there's information about on each of your tables, I believe. If you're a veteran age 50 or older and you were a previous or current smoker, I urge you to take advantage of this service. It could literally save your life. In fact, we've had a number of people who have gone through this screening, and we've identified early stage lung cancer, which has no symptoms, I believe we've saved their lives, or at least prevented them from having serious illness later on. This morning, I have the pleasure of introducing a dedicated individual who's been unselfishly servicing our country for many years. Captain Paul Whitescarver is the commanding officer of the Naval Submarine Base in New London. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1980, serving 11 years in the enlisted ranks before being selected for the enlisted commissioning program. Graduating from Virginia Tech in 1991, Captain Whitescarver then completed his initial officer nuclear power and submarine training. Over his career, he has served on the USS Minneapolis-St. Paul, the USS Norfolk, the USS Alabama, and he commanded the USS Scranton from 2009 to 2012. Captain Whitescarver was the recipient of the Naval Submarine League Charles Lockwood Award for Submarine Excellence in 2001. Before taking command of the Naval Submarine Base in New London, he served as the operations officer on the staff of the Commander Submarine Forces Atlantic in Norfolk, Virginia. Please join me in a warm welcome for Captain Paul Whitescarver.
Thanks so much for that warm welcome. Lieutenant Governor Wyman and distinguished state officials, members of the General Assembly, mayors, first selectmen, and distinguished local and community leaders, members, guests, sponsors of the Middlesex County Chamber of Commerce, members and especially veterans and friends of the armed forces of our United States, ladies and gentlemen, first allow me to thank the Chamber and support the Troops Committee for the invitation to be with you this morning. It's quite an honor. I mean, this is a huge crowd. I'm not used to speaking in front of this many people. Hopefully my public affairs officers prepared me well for this, so I appreciate it. And it's another thing to travel to this part of the state. You know, typically I stay pretty much on the southeastern part, so to come to the middle of the state is a great honor. And to come up for the golf tournament that Nathan talked about was a privilege. Those guys do so much for all the people on the base, and I really appreciate that. Governor Malloy and Lieutenant Governor Wyman refer to sub-base as Connecticut's submarine base, and it truly is. The base's impact is statewide. Many of our service members and civilians live in Middlesex County, and I know many of our electric boat employees do as well. As they contribute to the defense of our nation, salaries, contracts, and transactions are contributing to the county's and the state's economy. And in this past year, our economic impact was estimated somewhere around $5.7 billion to the southeastern part of the state. Lieutenant Governor Wyman, I know that's important to you and the governor, but I also know that our military members and their families, their welfare and well-being, and just as important, if not more so, you guys do a great job of taking care of them. So thank you for all of you that you do for our military in Connecticut and Connecticut Submarine Base, the first and the finest. It's also great to be here and celebrate with so many representatives from our sister services. With the United States Marine Corps and the United States Coast Guard, our Navy forms the world's premier maritime team. Today's Navy operates on the sea in ships. We do it under the sea in submarines, and we do it over the sea in our aircraft. This ability to operate from the sea is extremely important to us. It gives the Navy the power to protect America and our interests anywhere, and more importantly, anytime. It's what our sea service leaders like to think of as the 70, 80, 90, 95 rule. Water covers about 70% of the Earth's surfaces. Almost 80% of the world's population lives near the ocean. Nearly 90% of all international trade travels by sea. And for you smartphone users, 95% of international internet and phone traffic, to and from the United States is carried by undersea communications cables. Clearly, the numbers that I just spoke of happens on the world seas is what happens on the world seas is critical to American security and our prosperity. I look out at the citizens, veterans, and service members in attendance here. There are some other numbers and percentages that are equally as telling. Since our nation's founding, some 48 million men and women have donned the uniform and proudly stepped forward to defend our freedoms. Today, there are nearly 21 million living veterans. Currently deployed at home and around the globe are almost 1.4 million Americans in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, and Merchant Marine. They represent, get this, less than 1% of the U.S. population. In our Navy, there are more than 500,000 active duty and reserve sailors and Navy Department civilian employees. As we speak, there are some 160 ships and submarines at sea and more than 3,700 aircraft ready for operations. And just 2 Saturdays ago, Subbase hosted the ceremony adding our nation's newest submarine to the fleet. First Lady Michelle Obama, Governor Malloy, the Chief of Naval Operations, and many of you joined us as USS Illinois joined the fleet and was commissioned. USS Illinois is our Navy's 13th Virginia-class fast attack submarine, completed by those exceptional workers at Electric Boat and supported by the greatest industrial base the world has ever known. Fueled for life of the ship, PCU Illinois will continue for some 30 to 35 years without having to be refueled. Illinois also has the new Virginia payload tubes designed to lower costs and increase missile firing payload possibilities. The bottom line is USS Illinois has the capability to dominate the undersea domain and enable military success in any engagement, any. Of course, the true strength of the USS Illinois, and for that matter our Navy and our nation, are the men and women in uniform who carry out the mission. For our Navy, it's the sailors and Marines, many of whom are forward deployed around the world. They're at the pointy end of the spear in the war on terrorism, ensuring strategic deterrence, maintaining sea control and maritime security, rendering humanitarian assistance, and supporting disaster response. They are there now. They will be there when we are sleeping tonight. They will be there every Saturday, every Sunday, and every holiday of the year. Veterans Day allows us to recognize them and all those who have stepped forward and contributed so much to guarding and maintaining the liberties we cherish. Ever since the first Veterans Day, originally called Armistice Day in 1919, Americans have paused to salute the service and remember the sacrifice of those who have kept us free. The sacrifice has been tremendous, and we at Subbase in southeastern Connecticut know it well. Under the shadow of the Gold Star Memorial Bridge, where I-95 connects Groton and New London, is a granite wall and World War II submarine conning tower. On that memorial, Wall of Honor, are inscribed the 3,505 names of enlisted and officer submarines of World War II who made the ultimate sacrifice, giving that last full measure of devotion and their lives for us and democracy. They and hundreds of thousands of other Americans who gave their all built the foundation and formed the soul for our armed forces today. Adding to that legacy are the nearly 7,000 U.S. servicemen and women who died in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the some 50,000 that were wounded there. While I will never forget such sacrifices, each day at the submarine base I am also reminded of service. I have the privilege and pleasure of serving at Subbase with more than 6,500 of America's finest young men and women. Whether students attending training at our submarine school or sailors supporting and crewing our home-ported attack submarines, they continue an extraordinary legacy, a legacy of honor, courage, and commitment passed on to them by the veterans they follow. Veterans like Air Force Staff Sergeant Lawrence Larry Riley, the 2016 recipient. Another round of applause for Larry. I know I speak for all the men and women stationed at the submarine base when I say to Larry and all veterans who have distinguished themselves in service to the citizens of Connecticut and in selfless public service, thank you. But those of us in the uniform today, just like those who wore the uniform in the past, could not do all that they do without the support of the American people. Support exemplified by this chamber, its members and sponsoring businesses, and by the Chamber's inaugural recipient of Veteran Support Business of the Year Award, AT&T. And support exemplified by the citizens of Connecticut. October 2015 through the end of last month, October 2016, marked the year-long public celebration entitled Connecticut's Submarine Century. Designated by Governor Malloy, Connecticut's Submarine Century honored the local heritage and global impact made over the last 100 years by those who have and those who continue to design, build, and operate one of the most complex and influential marvels of the deep, our submarines. A cornerstone of Connecticut's Submarine Century was the centennial commemoration of our nation's first permanent continental submarine base, Naval Submarine Base New London, and Naval Submarine School, both officially established in June 1916. During the past 12 months, countless citizens across the state worked hard to take the governor's vision and turn it into a reality. The Connecticut Submarine Century Executive Committee was established and instrumental in creating, developing, and executing an unrivaled calendar of events, and I had to participate in every one of them. We enjoyed lecture and concert series and an artistic submarine sculpture trail throughout the region. We were honored in parades across the state and honored close to home with a wonderful community birthday party at Groton's Washington Park. We were celebrated during Subbase Week, Groton Week, and the Connecticut Maritime Heritage Festival. A special newspaper insert and a book were created. And there was a Pinewood Derby, a soapbox derby, and great activities and support from students and schools. Throughout the Connecticut Submarine Century celebrations, our neighbors, supporters, and friends across the state demonstrated something that we, the members of your Connecticut Navy team, know so well, and that is America's Navy could not do all that we do without you, the American people behind us. We are extremely thankful for the appreciation you show us through this breakfast today, but also we are extremely thankful for the gift you give us and our fellow veterans every day, your unwavering support. So as we mark Veterans Day this year, the numbers may indeed be telling, but so are the character, compassion, and support of the American people. The fabric of our United States remains woven by the men and women who have served and are serving in our Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, and the Merchant Marine, and more importantly by the citizens of every small town and every big city who have always supported them. I am proud to be counted among our nation's veterans. It has been and continues to be my honor to serve. May God bless you, our veterans, our armed forces, and especially our great nation. Thank you very much for having me this morning. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you remain standing for our closing ceremonies, please. At this time, I am going to be calling upon the Governor's Foot Guard to retire the colors, followed by a moment of silence for our departed comrades and those that could not come home from foreign wars to be honored as we were honored here this morning. And that will be followed by taps given by Lily Borneval and Emily Stanwood from Caucanshaw Regional High School. Color Guard, prepare to retire the colors.
Colors, attention! Right shoulder, arms! Forward, march! Color Guard, present!
A moment of silence for our departed comrades. Please uncover. Recover. Presentation of taps. And salute.
Colors, present. Arms. Color guard. Right shoulder. Arm. Right. Face. Forward. March.
Two.
Let's have a round of applause for the Governor's Foot Guard, Middletown PBA Pipe and Drums, Abby, Lily, and Emily from Coggins-Chog. Thank you so much for being here today. We're so proud of every one of our veterans. So proud. You're serving our country. You've made our country work. Your dedication to our country is unbelievable. And speaking for our entire membership of 2,100 members that employ over 50,000, we are very proud of you 365 days a year. Have a great week. Sun always shines in Middlesex County. Thank you.